Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast that leans into the fact that we're all over the planet. From Perth to Perth, Hamilton to Hamilton. Wherever you happen to be watching from, you're very much part of A Celtic World. And who do we have with us? Well, two old stalwarts as part of the triumvirate tonight. Paul in the aforementioned Perth. G'day.
G'day, mate. Good to be back. Good to have you back, and good to be in this side of the screen and not in your side of the screen. So yeah, pressure's off.
You say g'day to people.
I always feel a bit awkward when I say it. I say it more in a kind of comedy way, like I just did there, rather than I always find it both.
I was comedy. Hold on.
G'day, mate. I always find it warming and also a bit quirky when people say it to me just in the street, walking the dog and all that. Like it isn't an affectation for the locals. It's very much how they greet each other. So yeah, no, it's I'm 12 years here permanently, 15 years since the first visit. I still haven't really got the confidence to say good day to people like that.
Do you say, how are you going?
How are you going? Yeah, they do say that. And they grab stuff. They grab a beer or they grab some food. And yeah, no, I don't really say that. I probably get slip into it occasionally. It's hard. It's hard to avoid it. You kind of drop into the lingo once you've been here a while. Part of the assimilation. Can't come here and just try and be yourself. You've got to kind of fit in.
Fit in or
fuck off.
As they say. Have you assimilated to South Wales, Ian? What Welsh things do you say? You're on mute, mate.
Still on mute, mate.
Yeah. See, I never put myself on mute, Gav. You always put me on mute. And then the one time I put myself on mute, I'm not off it. No, I was saying I've adopted some of the worst things. So I'll say like now in a minute, which doesn't make any sense. It tends to be those sort of things. And I don't really the thing is, you might notice this as well, Paul. It's only when you go back home that you notice what you say, because people say, what are you talking about? Like, why are you saying that? You don't really tend to notice too much when you're down here. So I always get told what I'm saying differently when I go back home, and I get a funny look, or I say that doesn't make sense, etc. So
I'm expecting a lot of that. Like, I'm back in Scotland for the first time in 7 and a bit years later on this year, and I'm expecting to be told a load of those things and get told to sound like an Aussie. Still get told I sound far too Scottish here, and I guarantee I'll get told I sound like an Aussie, and there's inflections here and there and all of that. So
yeah, rising inflections, disgraceful. When I go home, it's pronunciations. I was out for a curry with my mates, and we got onto the subject of dogs and what type of dogs we have. And I said, we've got a couple of schnauzers. And they all fell about laughing, like, oh, listen to him, schnauzer. Because, like, you have to say schnauzer if you're from Belfast. So opening up your vowel sounds is an absolute crime.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway,
I've not got to the point where I'm saying water in the city yet. So I'm pretty pleased with that.
Good man. All right. What we're going to talk about. Hello to everyone. I threw up a few comments there. See lots of the regulars with us. It's always good. So, things in the news is the first thing on the agenda. Then we're going to check out this semi.
We've missed those puns.
Gav's back. The double entendres are back.
And then we're gonna do a few say what you sees. I know you boys struggled with the pictograms, didn't you? The Celtic catchphrase, or at least Ian did.
Struggle is kind.
Yeah, Ian was poor. I was not bad.
Ian doesn't seem to enjoy it very much, so we'll do that and see if we can pick up his enjoyment level a bit. We've got a few more of those, which are fun to do, I have to say. I enjoy doing them because I can imagine the groans and the frustration when the answer is revealed if nobody gets it. And then Celtic socials. All right, so that is the plan. 420 somewhere just wants a song. I haven't got any new songs for you at all, I'm afraid.
Have you not been inspired with your trip back to the motherland?
Well, I've got a few that need to be laid down in the studio, but that's been the case for weeks. The lyrics are there. I've saved the karaoke version. I've just got to put it all together. But sometimes You get to that point and you think you're in business, and then when you go to sing it, you're just like, oh dear. Like
Is that
there's
not
actually
is that not how you feel every time?
no, because believe it or not, there's a quality control level that many things don't get beyond.
Wow. I'd love to see the outtakes.
Oh, the outtakes are terrible. I tried to do an aha one for Trusty. Trusty, now we have 3 skills, Cameron, skills, Trusty, and CCV. Anyway, it was that song, Sun Always Shines on TV. And yeah, people complain about the dogs in the neighborhood wailing. That definitely would have been the case. All right. Anyway, enough of this talk.
But
Let's move
by the way,
on.
Gav, I didn't realize when I was looking at the run sheet, I didn't realize the agenda had in the news as the first up one, because if so, I would have channeled my inner top journalist today. So I've
Right, so
left
here
the
we
top
go.
journalist.
Post-split fixtures. I'm just going to talk over you because that patter is well and truly in the past. Post-split fixtures, Paul, quickly say something. Keep Ian under control. What do you think of these?
Well, I think I'm not sure if I put it in our group chat or a different group chat, but I pretty much called these, except I got Hibs and Rangers round the wrong way. So we only had 2 games after the split. We all wanted a home game to win the title. I sort of worked out that we'll end up with the last game, obviously, at home for Flag Day. So it's unlikely we were going to have a 3 away fixtures in a row. So I predicted United away first, then Hibs at home, Rangers away, because I thought they'd want more of a gap just in case there was a slip up. And then I predicted Aberdeen in the midweek away tie. Why wouldn't you want to send us the furthest place possible in the middle of the week? And yeah, finish with St Mirren at home to pick up the trophy. So kind of, yeah, pretty much almost as expected. I was surprised the derby was as close to the opportunity to win the league. But I guess that's how confident they are that we'll win it in that first fixture. Either we'll get enough or they'll slip up again, and that will be. To be honest, I haven't looked at their fixture, so I don't know who they've got in that first fixture. But I assume it'll be an away tie if we're at home and they're at home to us in the following round. So yeah, I assume it's going to be a tricky game for them because one of the top 6 away. So I don't know. So yeah, I obviously one way or another probably expect the league to be winning that first game, but obviously the fixture arrangers or the supercomputer expects it to be organised because they wouldn't risk it.
Supercomputer.
It's nonsense,
How super
isn't it?
is the computer?
It's dog shit.
If indeed it is one. It's not. Spoiler alert, it's not a computer, is it? It's a Masonic
a guy in the
Tory
lodge.
border conspiracy.
It's just a guy.
I mean, is any of it going to be impactful? I mean, if we were to lose this game, the idea of it, the Celtic away fixture at Rangers being decisive, I'm surprised they even left the door open to that.
That's what I think.
No, did we not win it at Ibrox not that long ago? Like, I think someone was it not only like about 4 or 5 years ago? I don't think it was actually that long ago that we won at Ibrox, and it kind of passed without any trouble. The trouble is actually, and again, people forget this, the trouble is actually when Rangers win something, because they're terrible losers and they're actually even more terrible winners. I mean, they tore up, we can go back over the pandemic and stuff like that. But so I actually think when we win stuff, it's largely all right. Obviously, I think they're more worried about the kind of the party element in the Merchant City after last year. So I don't know. There's probably a number of things that go into the decision making here. It's not like you're right. It's not just a supercomputer. It's also probably the police, staffing, other things that are going on, etc. So it probably just suits everyone involved if we win it early doors, and it's all done and dusted, and then the people of Ibrox can celebrate a moral victory or something.
Well, are we going to get a guard of honor? Do you see all this talk? I mean, come on. We go through this all the time.
Well, again. That's what I'm sure. I'm sure we've had this before, because I think it was James Tavernier when Rangers were readmitted. Oh, what was it? When the new club was entered into the leagues and they climbed up and they signed Tavernier, I think he had a go at like some club for not giving them a guard of honor, and he went to Twitter to do it, and so obviously that's now etched in history. So every time we go as champions, the tweet's always brought back up, and he's made to look like even more of a clown than he is.
It's a waste of time, the whole conversation, isn't it?
I think we tend to get most teams give us one on Flag Day. That they tend to give us one that day. But beyond that, I don't think, and even then, that's not really necessary. It's a nice touch, but I don't think nobody expects it. And I certainly don't think we'll be, if we win it at United, we're obviously not going to get one from them. I don't expect to get one in every other game until the last day of the season. So
I think the tradition is, though, in football is one is like a Flag Day or like, the kind of thing, but the other one is the game after you've won it. I do think that's a relatively well-established tradition. Again, I wouldn't want us doing it for them if they ever get their act together. So I don't see harm in. I think it's just more an opportunity for folk to call out the double standards that runs through them like a rock.
Yeah, either everyone does it and it's an act of sportsmanship and it's no big deal, or nobody does it and it's no big deal. But yeah, it's a bit silly, the whole thing. All right, so we will preview the game a bit later on, the Cup semi-final, but those are the post-split league fixtures. It's funny you should mention, this is a little bit of an aside, the Merchant City and everything. When I was in Glasgow there recently, it was just like, it was like sort of being on a pilgrimage if you're like a movie buff and you're a movie buff, Ian. Have you ever been to a city where a film was set in and you're seeing all the touchstone elements of that?
I enjoy
film?
watching movies. I wouldn't say I'm a buff to go and go to all the places, but
Because to me, it was fascinating to see, the merchant cities there. And, oh, look, there's Tron Gate. And I found myself on, I think, Bath Street. And I saw the Herald's office. And I noticed that in the basement of the Herald's office is this S1 Jobs or whatever it is, that's now sponsoring all the Herald's podcasts. Is it time for you to put in a transfer? If so, S1 Jobs in the whole Scottish Edinburgh, Glasgow region. So that was quite interesting. Also went past, what do you call the music venue, Paul, that always gets mentioned?
King Tut's.
Who?
King Tut's.
King Tut's. Saw King Tut's. All these wee things. I'm like, like a magical winter wonderland.
Did you go past the bus stop and think that's the one that the guy fell through the glass on top of when he was celebrating? There's the lamppost that guy fell off of.
Didn't spot that one, but then I was in George Square and I was trying to work out what the camera angle was for all the Sevco fellas fighting each other. That clip that features in the House of Huns.
Oh yeah,
trying to work out where that was. Couldn't quite crack it. But anyway,
the guy was just defecating in the middle of the street. That one as well.
Someone mentioned that earlier.
Yeah,
street shitter.
Yeah, street shouter. The only place I've really massively felt like when I went to the States a lot of the time, I felt like that. But in New York, I felt like that constantly. So there's a comment there about
taxis.
Yeah, just taxis, like steam coming out. Yeah, all of that. It's like turn around the corner and you feel like you're in a TV show or a movie or whatever. But yeah, New York definitely did it, and like other bits and pieces, but a lot of the States, because obviously movies are set in a lot of the major cities and states, and it's a bit of time there.
Well, yeah, the only time I went to New York, I went into just like a wee shop to buy a pack of fags or something, and then a car pulled up, and these glamorous-looking people got out, and they were in getting candy and stuff. And then I realized who the woman was. So I just said, "Oh, hello, Goldie," and she was in there with her kids, and she had a daughter with her who was maybe about 16. I'm like 22, 20, something like that.
Kate Hudson.
And this sweet sort of precocious blonde teen girl like looks at me and she was like, "Who's this who knows my mummy?" And that turned out to be who? What's her name?
Kate Hudson. Kate Hudson. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Candy, yes, that's what they call it in America, Henrik. Jeez, didn't say schnauzer, did I? We're getting some candy after my hug. All right, here we go. Greg Taylor, Ian, What's going on here? A lot of talk in the news about this. Is he going to get offered a new contract? Would he be happy to be the understudy for Tierney? What's your stance on this?
I don't know. I think he's obviously the choice he's making. I mean, there was some obviously nonsense going on in the press about him going over to Ibrox because he was tired of relentless success. I could see the move to Croatia, but it's a very big lifestyle change. And I think maybe with a young family, maybe he's kind of reconsidering that decision or seriously thinking about it. By all accounts, the rumour mill's in overdrive in saying that Celtic and Taylor aren't that far apart in agreeing the contract. So I don't think it's a case of, I don't think he's got an issue with being the understudy to KT. I think it's probably more about just he's at that stage where he wants to sign a contract that he makes his money. I think we've kind of said it in the past on here. I think most of us would be happy with Taylor as the understudy to KT. I think where we get into it now is looking at, if we do lose Taylor, how much does it cost to replace someone of his quality currently in terms of what he brings to the team? And then how much does an improvement cost? And then you have to set that off over the kind of pay rise. So I imagine all those conversations are going on at Celtic Park. But for me, I'd pay him a bit more because we've got much bigger fish to fry. And if we keep him and we have KT left back is sorted and we don't have to worry about it. If we just bring in KT, then left back isn't sorted. I know you're kind of Paul, but I'm saying in the sliding scale of areas that need to be addressed at, if Taylor and KT are there, it is not an immediate 2026 concern for me.
Oh,
So I agree to a point. My view is the Zagreb thing's probably off the table because Fabian Cannavaro got sacked as the manager, and it was him that was really keen to sign him. So with him going, I think maybe that deal isn't around anymore. And it seems to be the chat is that the main offers are coming from the MLS. He's probably too young to really go there. Yeah, he'd make lots of money, but again, lifestyle, you're going to pull your family across there with a newborn. Probably not. Go to Trump America. My view, he's been getting paid about 10 grand a week, I think. We've offered him 15. He wants 20. I'm not against re-signing him. It's somewhere near that, but not as the backup left back, if I'm being brutally honest. I still want another left back in the building. His best position, centre midfield. Let's be honest, that's his best position. That's where he was great. That's why he got rave reviews against Kilmarnock, because he was playing double pivot, but from left back. He's fine when we are going forward constantly. He's a great footballer. He's a good passer. He's got a clever brain. He picks a pass. His movement's good. He can't defend. When he gets asked to defend properly at left back, he can't do it. And I've said it before, and I hope I'm wrong. I think KT won't play enough games, and you can't pick and choose what games they'll play. Do you want to be left with Greg Taylor at left back in the Champions League next season? Because it's an absolute possibility if he's your backup. For me, the backup left back should be somebody in the Alex Valle kind of mode, a young left back that we go and pick up from an academy, and can be mentored by KT and is pushing and is an able deputy when you need him and offers you some progression and a future sell-on fee. Is there a place for Greg Taylor in the squad as a utility player? Probably. People were talking about sliding Sloop as a utility player. Well, why not Greg Taylor for that? But if he's your only left back cover, not for me.
There's some other people echoing that point there in the chat. Henrik McLaurson, he was excellent defensively during the Ange years. Defensively, not so much. Plunge McNugget saying GT's not a left back. And other people talking about who they met when they were in New York. There's a message here for you. Did you see the message for you, Paul?
Dice is shit. Yeah, I've only ever I've stayed in Dice once in my life because I had a flight out of Aberdeen Airport, which is at Dice, the next day. I was at a wedding and I was so drunk that I fell asleep in my kilt on the floor of my hotel room rather than the bed. I didn't even get to utilize the bed. And yeah, I've got nothing nice to say about Dice either, other than it's a exit point from the northeast of Scotland. So yeah, Monty, I'm not really surprised. It's
no dice for Paul.
No dice for me, no dice for you, Monty. Give it a miss.
Everyone was racking their brains for a dice joke there. I decided I couldn't come up with one, but thankfully Ian stepped in. All right, yeah, Greg Taylor, who knows what's going to happen there? What's everyone say? People always say I don't smile enough when I'm on, or words to that effect. This is Paddy putting it in his own inimitable way. Got a face on you like a slapped arse today. Well, my camera's at a different angle. Maybe that's it, and the lighting's different. So sorry if I'm not a cheery enough disposition for you, Paddy. We'll try and work on that. Maybe this will cheer you up then. Hugh Keevans, that's always something to put a smile on people's face. Fight for him or he's gone, says the agonizingly annoying Hugh Keevans. He urges Brendan Rodgers to act now. No, I think he's urging the club to act now, really. Give him what he wants. Sign him up. Tell him he's got a massive transfer kitty. Get behind him or he'll be off. Ian, do you think that's true? Where are you in this whole story? This is going to dominate the headlines now, the whole...
I mean, it's going to dominate. I mean, the thing is, Hugh Keevans may as well be called Captain Obvious in this one. I mean, this one could have been generated by AI, as opposed to him probably done a better job than him, actually. We all know, because Rodgers has said it. Rodgers left the last time because he didn't have his players brought in. He's kicked off the whole of this season because we didn't do the correct thing with Kyogo and we haven't done the thing. He's talked about... the players that aren't at the level here needing to replace them and stuff like that. So we all know the proof is going to be in the pudding. Rodgers is going to get his players or he's not. If he doesn't, he's going to be gone by the end of the contract. If he does, then there's a likelihood that he'll re-sign because it will kind of like show a seeds change and things. We won't know until late. What is it? Late August, whenever the window shuts. We're not going to know until then. So it's going to run and run and run. It's just a bit like Keevans. Just he's got to do it though. He's got to collect his money somehow, doesn't he? So fair play.
No, we sort of had a little bit of conversation about this. I think it was after the last show with Stephen and that. And I think we all agree who's going to be next. Are we going to have a better manager after Rodgers? Probably not. He's got a full year to run. Do you think he's been dropping little Easter eggs, Paul, to sort of suggest that he's going to fulfill his contract and then be off-ski? And who could blame him if that's the case?
Well, he sort of made a run for his own back at the outset by saying unless he gets emptied, he'll be here at the end, and he sort of reiterated that in the last week or so when he was asked to clarify his comments about either you need to change the players or change the manager. There's not a chance that he won't see out the contract because he'll pretty much more than likely win everything this season, and there's a good chance similar next season. He's reinstated our reputation in Europe. He'll be trying to do that again next year. If he finishes the contract and that's the case, he can walk away with his head held high saying, I did everything I said I was going to do, and I've been a successful manager. Go down as one of the most successful managers probably in our history. And he will have offers. I guess the thing is, to Ian's point, if he's backed at the level, and Kieran Tierney is the start of that, and that was a good indication. He didn't get the striker he wanted, but in the end, it hasn't really mattered particularly because of how well my area's doing predominantly. Well, it hasn't, Ian, right? So,
well, it has. Because it started to sow doubt in people's minds, hasn't it? Because we've had like wobbles. So like every player is getting thrown under the bus. Kuhn has gone from like we're selling him for X to down to nothing because we've not been able to rotate that front line. He's been written off.
A lot of that's noise, though, right? A lot of that's noise.
Yeah, like, but it does play a massive impact in Glasgow. It does play a massive impact.
I know, but like if you take a step back and look at it rationally, it hasn't made an ounce of difference to what we'll end up achieving this season. But it sows doubt in Rodgers' mind because we all know the striker he wanted.
We know he wants Fish Garden. We've known it for like whatever it is, 2.5 years, and they've just not done the deal.
We should have done it ages ago, and it would be like you should
have
have done that.
So there's more than one thing at play, and I just think that last window, as much as yes, we've signed KT, they've not done the deal for the striker that he's wanted for the best part of 18 or 24 months. So as much as we can say, yeah, KT is a tick, they're not replacing Kyogo. I still think is a big thing. I'm just for context. I think
I agree, but we'll undoubtedly sign another striker this summer window. That won't be allowed to happen again. So he's really, you've got the end of this window, as you say, to decide if he's backed or not. If he's backed, like realistically, who's going to come in from down south that is really going to float his boat? If he goes back down there, he's going to want to rehabilitate his reputation and really win something pretty big. Like he nearly won the title with Liverpool. He's not going to get those really top jobs. So what's the point in going back unless you're chasing money? He's got an ego. Like his ego is winning stuff, being in the eye of the storm. If he's backed up here, that's his best option. Yeah, it's only the Champions League for 8, 10 games, 12 games if he's really lucky. But that'll pump his tires up and he'll be loving it. So I don't know. I think if he's backed in the window, he stays. And he might sign a 3-year extension and go after 2. Who knows? Something might float his way. He's still a relatively young man. He's your age, Gav, right? So there's a little compliment for you. Like he's not at the back end of his managerial career, right? So I just don't. Yeah, he's got a massive ego. He needs to get what he wants, but equally, nearly anyone, unless we drop on really lucky like we did with Ange, and even Ange didn't really. I think he could have done better in Europe if he'd stayed the third year. But we dropped on with Ange. That was a pretty lucky appointment. I don't see us being that lucky again if he walks away and we can't keep him. So yeah, he did. I think he did come back to reprove himself and do something in Europe. Does one season count? No. We need to get off and through the qualifying early doors next year. So we need players in. To the point of the window, we need players in early because it's going to be qualifying. So we'll want to get.
And we can't miss out on that Champions League. And that you're talking about his ego. His ego is the big thing. So he needs to be in the Champions League or doing well in Europe. And that's the kind of thing that maybe none of us can really, I guess, understand his ego and what satisfies his ego. Because if he's backed and he does well in Europe, you would say maybe that's ticking the boxes, but there is always that return to the EPL because you just see it's a draw because everyone thinks it's the biggest league in the world because Sky have done such a good job of branding it.
But he's been there now twice, 2 different, like at both ends of it. What's he going to get at? Like for me, if he's going to be testing himself, he's better off going to the continent. And if somebody will give him a job in one of the decent sized European leagues, is he going to be happy with? He's going to want to be back in Europe, given what he's had that taste of the limelight in Champions League, and he's not going to get a Champions League club in England. But I don't think. I might be wrong.
Yeah, this whole talk sort of first came to my mind whenever we did the episode with Scotland's coefficient, and we were talking about what a great time it was for Rodgers to come back because he had like 3 seasons in the Champions League, pretty easy, 2 automatic and one qualifying round. Well, that does sort of move the conversation on a wee bit to Scotland's coefficient, because the idea being, because we're going to lose so many points this next season, where I'm not explaining this very well. Why don't I put some graphics up?
Points drop off, don't they?
There's a points drop off, yeah, over the sort of rolling 5. But this season's been really good. You can see here we lost 9.750 from a few years back when the Scottish teams did really well in Europe. But this year we've added a lot more than I think everybody expected us to as Scotland. So that's pretty good. The ranking is 14 currently. So that was good. We talked about all these worst case scenarios about dropping out of the top 15 and what that was going to mean for the future. This doesn't make a particularly pretty reading for Celtic fans, but it is what it is. Rangers currently 19.75 coefficient points because the points are the same no matter what European
Yeah, well,
tournament
that's
you're
why
in.
that's why it doesn't. If you understand how it works, it doesn't make difficult reading because we've scored nearly the same amount of points in a much more difficult tournament. So,
Sure, of
and
course.
from less, is it less? How many games have we played? Similar games, or we've probably played less games because they had qualifying.
But that is the main point: is that you get equal points regardless, even if you're in the conference. A win gets you the same points as a win in the Champions League. So, as you like to call them, the coefficient monkeys, so they're going to win the coefficient cup this season, for what it's
Good for
worth.
them.
Yeah,
It's worth
we
nothing
could
to
really
them.
do with some of these other teams getting a few points on the board would make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
This gives you an idea. These are the points that dropped away from 2019, 2020, and they've been replaced by these ones. And then there's been these kind of really fallow years here, so particularly this one. So if we were to have a 9.25 season or more next season, we're actually likely to be climbing the table because this is the number that's going to drop away. So what does that all mean? Well, it all means that the European picture isn't quite as bleak for the next seasons as we thought it might be when I had that conversation with the coefficient guy. So that gives me
His name is
hope that
Gavin.
maybe Rodgers, his name is Gavin. That gives me hope. It's an instantly forgettable name. That gives me hope that the Celtic job remains very attractive to Rodgers, and I hope he sees that.
The only,
Somebody
I guess,
else.
the only other
Right.
thing to mention, I guess, is that up until now, Rodgers has had a bit of a lifespan at clubs. It starts brilliantly. It's all guns blazing for a year or two, two and a half, 3. But there's a definite drop off in intensity, quality of football, results, etc. over the period. Now, I don't know does his interest wane? Did the message stop getting through to players? But
he said that. I think you're right. He said that. He said in the thing, it's the message through to the players. So I'm wondering. I know what you were saying. I wonder if he's identified this now himself. Because you're right, it's the messaging. So because he said it's either the manager needs to go or there needs to be new players. So I'm wondering if he knows himself that that's what it takes to maintain the success beyond what he's traditionally had.
Well, yeah, because spot on, because he's probably had the same core group of players, and certainly at Celtic, and then again at Leicester. He was stuck with the same players at Leicester because they sold his best players out from under him and withdrew funding because the owners decided they were going to stop coughing up at the same level. So I think you're right that he identified that, and people read into that immediately. Oh, he's going. But I think you're right. He's identified as key players like McGregor and others that will continuously keep a level, but other players are sort of transitional players, or they'll pass through, and you can get a real uplift off them in 1 or 2 seasons, but after that, they need to move on.
Brian saying he reckons Rodgers wants to build a dynasty, become the new Fergie at Celtic. I assume he means Alex Ferguson.
As opposed to Sarah.
Safe assumption.
Somebody else in the Celtic world said to me they kind of hope Rodgers moves on because you've got to keep things fresh. It was kind of what we were just talking about. But I mean, I would stop short of that. I want to keep things fresh, but I think it's going to be in player turnover, as we sort of were dancing around just now.
Well, that's the model, right? Like if we get the model right, players are only going to be with us for 2 to 3 years, and that works with a manager who wants to be around for a longer term. Because if we're changing players and managers, which is kind of what's happened in the past, like that's a real kind of tumultuous kind of situation to be in. You've got players arriving on long contracts because you want to protect your asset for the future. Then you've got other managers chopping in, and are they going to be the right players? Can you then realize that value if they don't suit? Like you kind of need one or the other stability, and it's not really going to be players. So if you can get a manager that wants to stay and create a dynasty, and I don't like he's, like I said, he's young enough that he might still have ambitions elsewhere, but where is he going to be best suited to prove that he can? If he does it in Celtic for 7-8 years and he's still under 60, then maybe he does get a bigger job, especially if he's in the Champions League every year and really punching above his weight at that level. I don't know. There you go. We were talking about that off air, weren't we? So Paddy will get his wish. There'll be some new talent feeding through the squad in weeks to come. But yeah, no, I think if Rodgers did want to stay for the longer term and could rotate the squad, key players every two to 3 years, and get fresh talent in that is fresh years and he can develop and really get a tune out of, I think that could be like the ideal situation. But I'm loath to suggest and suspect that is likely to be the case, because if the one thing we know is that change is nearly constant and inevitable.
Wow, this is deep. Okay, let's take a wee break, shall we, from this kind of chat. We'll come back and talk about the St Johnstone game coming up. Just want to flash up a few things here. Well, I asked for people to send in their pictures, listeners, viewers of the show. So some of them did. This for the Celtic CSC. Now, who can identify themselves in the pictures? That'll be interesting. Or do you have any idea who some of these faces are? Well, our faces. There's Kaiser, Dano. Oh no, I'm not showing it, am I?
No,
Can
you
you
are.
see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Christoph is here.
Mm-hmm.
See Christoph beside me. Yes.
Yes. I can see Christoph.
Okay. And then there's Big Days and 420. I'm going from right to left. Big Days and then 420. And in
Dano.
between Kaiser and Dano, that was emailed to me, but the email address I don't think corresponds to somebody's username on YouTube. So I'm not entirely sure. That could be one or please identify yourself in the chat in between Kaiser and Dano. And who do you think it is on the right there, on the furthest over with the umbrella?
I try to think.
Don't keep us in suspense, Gav.
Suspenders. That's Who's the Snitch.
Right. Well.
Yeah. There's a little bit of the picture is hidden, but look at those legs. Gotta appreciate that.
There you go. Fabulous.
Looks like if anyone watches Arrested Development, there's a guy called Tobias, and he's a never nude, and he wears those same sort of like small denim pants underneath their clothes, because as the never nude suggests, they never like being nude. That's one for fans of Arrested Development.
420, enjoying the fact that that's Who's the Snitch. Very funny. So send us in more of your pictures and we'll build this up so that it looks like we're a bunch of merry fans.
Me and Ian didn't make the cut, I noticed.
Well, you're not on the what do you call it? Drink along often enough. Is that not fair?
Okay. Oh, okay.
Huh?
I think I've been very drunk on the drink along at least once or twice, but
Okay, I'll add you in, Paul. And any others, male or female? Come on, we need some girls. Who's the snitch? Laughing along to that. Did I pronounce that in a funny way? All right. Say what you see. Here we go. You ready to play? You can play along at home.
All right, we're in.
Let's do a few of these. We'll do a couple of relatively straightforward ones, or what I consider to be relatively straightforward. These are former or current Celtic players represented in pictorial format. So how about this one? Type it in the comments if you know what this is.
John Hughes.
Before you shout it out, Paul and Ian, just say you've got it, to give us a bit of time in case you get it really quickly. Anyone at home can work out which former or current player this is. It's a former player. Though we never saw much of him, fortunately. Oh, Craig Young's in.
Yeah, there we go.
Craig Young. Bend Oak.
Bent oak. Dear, oh dear.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good
dear.
one. It's certainly not doggy tree. I don't know how that's supposed to represent a doggy or any sort of pet animal.
Says
Downward dog.
movement.
He probably thought it was downward dog. It's not quite downward dog, but it's in the
I'm
in the
not sure he
ballpark.
thought that. Pretty sure he didn't think that. That's not where his mind was going.
I'm
There
giving
you
the
go.
benefit of the
Ben Duke, you enjoy that one, Ian?
Yep.
He says through gritted teeth. Okay, here's another one of a similar type. Mhm.
I've got it.
Not bend over, smell the glove. The
I've
last one.
I've
got
got
this
this one. Yeah, it's I'll be in a
Okay,
Yeti.
that's very
Oh my
good,
God.
Paul.
Oh my
Albion, a Yeti. Oh
Dear, oh
dear. Well, as long as we're amusing ourselves, that's the main thing, isn't it? That's what you tell
Indeed.
me, Ian. Don't worry about stuff that you put out as long as you're amusing yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's someone for everyone, something for everyone.
Now, there's one here which is, I think I have to put it out to the younger, hipper music lovers among us. So that's why it's on Thursday's, Monday's show. No, what day is
Thursday
today?
show.
Yeah, it's
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday. Here's one for you, former or past
I know
player.
this one. I've got this
I've
one.
got this one. I've got this
Got
one
this
as well.
one
Yeah,
already?
I've got this
Oh
one
my
as well.
goodness,
Yeah.
I was sorry, we don't
Yeah.
say it yet. Give it a second. I'm surprised you got it so quickly.
This is really easy. This is really
This is the
easy.
easiest one
Oh,
that
this
I've
is an
ever
easy
seen.
one.
Yeah, this is
It's
very
the
easy.
easiest one you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Go on, talk us through it then, Ian.
Camera, Ron, Carter, Vickers.
Which is Cameron, I think.
Cameron Carter Vickers.
Carter the unstoppable sex machine. And yeah, some Vickers.
That's good. Wasn't sure if you'd know who Cameron the Unstoppable Sex Machine was. I'm
No,
pretty sure
the
if I
other
put that
three
out,
are pretty.
Come on.
if I put it out to
It's
David
Cameron the unstoppable
Bangkok,
sex.
David Bangkok and Steve would have been like, "Who the hell's that?" What do you think?
Well, yeah, we're about a decade younger than them. I hope.
Only a decade.
You're
What's
more than a
Carter-
decade. You're probably more than a decade.
What's Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine's biggest hit?
Oh, bollocks.
I've never heard of them in my puff.
Have you not? You didn't know who that
No.
was?
No.
Or you got it just from the other bits?
Yeah. Very few Celtic players with the name Cameron.
Cameron, yeah. And Vickers. So you
Yeah.
can join the dots in the middle. Yeah, Sheriff Fat Man. The team have got it. But what's the kid? He's probably ancient. What's the guy called who's the lead singer? Because his solo stuff's pretty good. He's been putting out some solo stuff in the last few years.
Sheriff Fat Man. I was thinking the only living boy in New Cross.
Oh yeah, Only Living Boy in New Cross was probably bigger than Sheriff Fat Man. Yeah, you're right. That was very good.
Sheriff Fat Man. Well, there's one for my Spotify to check out later. This better be good.
Get on it, mate. What's I'm trying. It's annoying me. I'm gonna have to look it up. Sorry. Talk amongst
Well, it's time
yourself.
for another one, so you can keep thinking while we show this one.
I'll get on with
You
this.
ready?
I'm excited.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Anyone at home getting this one? Put these elements together. A former player.
No idea. I think I only
I
can
think
probably
we're struggling
safely guess
here.
one bit of that, and that is T, as in like a golf tee at the end.
Yeah.
The rest.
It's a golf tee. It is a golf tee. Oh,
Massimo Donati.
yes.
Massimo
Donati.
Emo. Yeah, Massimo Donati. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I thought I was looking for the individual. I was a bit confused.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough of this pish. But if you think it isn't pure pish, you can subscribe, of course. This is only our second season. Come on, do your fellow Celts a favour. Help us grow a wee bit, push up to
Two
2K.
clicks, we Gav. A like and a subscribe is just two clicks, 2 taps on a phone.
Tippy
We've been
tappy.
sort of
Tap it.
creeping up from 1.75 thousand. And I don't think we're going to make 2,000 this year, this season, but I could be wrong. So if you haven't yet, please do subscribe and get more of this amazing stuff. The Celtic World content is all free, nothing behind a paywall. Nobody owns us, like that building on Bath Street that I was talking about earlier. We have no club access rights to lose. Completely independent fan media, Ian. Huh? And no
Completely.
intrusive YouTube ads. Subscribing costs you nothing, and we'd appreciate it. 2 shows a week, Monday and Thursday. I'm just reading the ticker if you haven't noticed. Plus live watch-alongs as worldwide CSE, which we've already mentioned. So hail, Mon the Hoops. Get subscribing right now. If that wasn't enough for you, don't just take it from me. Listen to Massimo Donati.
Ciao ragazzi, I cannot believe how great a Celtic world is. Magnificent. It's very important to subscribe. Everybody do it immediately. Okay?
I thought that was Gino De Campo.
Well, you can't mention him anymore. He's done something naughty, hasn't he?
I think it's 50,
Allegedly.
yeah, I think it's 50-50 in the current climate. You'll have people who don't see an issue, people who do, and then people in the middle who can't really be arsed. So just keep quiet.
Make sure you subscribe. I think we've made that point.
Well, before we move too far on from Carter Unstoppable Sex Machine, the lead singer is called Jim Bob, and he's been quite prolific. He's been an album a year between 2020 and 2023. So,
Quantity, not quality, Paul? Or
I've not listened to all of it. I enjoyed it. There's an album called Pop Up Jim Bob from 2020, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But yeah, if you were an old school Carter USM fan, go check out Jim Bob on Spotify. There you go. That's my little muso itch scratch.
Okay, we better get it back. I was going to go into this conversation about Gino De Campo and Paul Young's house and everything, but we're supposed to be a Celtic channel. 213 people watching us. Who's Randy Tim?
Randy Tim is glad.
I've seen a few Randy Tims on X, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we all have. Hit him with a stick.
I've never heard of Randy Tim. What platform is he on? Dare I ask?
Are they?
Is he on the hub?
Oh, I don't know why I put that up. Randy Tim. Okay. Anyway,
Monty.
let's move it on. Here we go. St Johnstone versus Celtic. Scottish Cup final. Match officials. Does this mean anything to anyone? Are we going to fly into an incandescent rage?
No.
I don't even know half of these names.
That's probably
these
a
aren't
good
the
thing.
highest profile managers or highest profile referees, are they?
No, I mean, Andrew Dallas and VAR is always a concern, but I think we have to just take the positive that Alan Muir has been given his jotters, because he was truly terrible. Like, he was, I mean, as we educated you one time before, Gav, it was truly ripping out of Alan Muir. So the fact he's gone is great. Like I said, I don't know the other ones, but I'm sure the CSC will be on all their background checks before kickoff, so we'll know if any of them, what schools they've gone to, etc., before kickoff, probably.
All righty. That's enough of that. Hatate is focused on this game. He says, we played against St Johnstone and we lost against them in the last game in the league. I have to put in hard work in the next game and do my best for the team. He's doing reasonably well, actually, Hatate, at the moment. He's in a pretty good vein of form, isn't he? You have to say.
High praise from you, Gav.
What is that?
Yeah.
Two? Do we call 2 games a run of form for Hatate? Is that the bar?
Well, that is a run of form for Hatate.
No, that's what I mean. That's what you're saying. That the bar for him is like two decent games.
I think he's had 2 really good games back to back, and there's been a run of games where he's had an impact even if he's not been entirely in the whole game. I think to be fair, recently, if you go back, the only game you could probably say that he was absolutely horrific in was the away game at Ibrox. He was shocking that day.
Just the most important one in recent times.
It's not that important now, is it?
It is, Paul. It is.
It
is. It is important. It is important. Every game against your biggest rival is important, especially after you surrendered yourself in the last one and the rest of it. I'm sorry. We don't need to dive into it, but I'm sorry. You know, I like Hatate, but he needs to turn up and consistently in games, and I don't think turning up in 2 is good. Like, I'm not detracting his form. He deserves his praise in the last 2, but he needs to, come on, wise up.
Well, if you look at the last 2 games, nobody better than the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah,
I give credit where it's due, and when he's anonymous and annoying me, I'll say that. But he hasn't been recently. He's been good, so fair enough. These are the next couple of fixtures. 10 p.m. on a Sunday night, Paul, for us. That's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's not great either. Like, the only positive is we've got Monday off, right? Because it's Easter, so it's not the end of the world. It's better than 11, which it would have been until a few weeks ago. Yeah, like, are we kicking into what we think will actually happen in the game, given we're 8 minutes from the end of the show? Look, they did a really good job on us in the last game. We were extremely poor in the first half. We spent a lot of time talking about that because there wasn't much else to talk about around that period, so I won't go over it again. But I sort of expect we've played pretty decent in the last 2 games, and sort of there's been a bit of a bounce back. We've got some competition for places. I expect what will happen. What's happened when we've had other poor fixtures this season against teams, and the next time we play them, particularly if it comes relatively close after, probably with the exception of the arch rivals, we've scudded them. So Aberdeen got a draw and got all the plaudits, and then we beat them 6-0 in the League Cup semi. We drew with United, we drew with Dundee, and we scudded both of them the next time we play them. Hibs beat us, we scudded them the next time we played them. And obviously, St Johnstone got a fantastic result, and I expect on the big pitch at Hampden, we'll have too much for them, and we'll scud them as well. But even if we don't scud them, I expect us to win by 1 or 2.
Would you like to use the word scud several times, Ian?
As long as you don't say after it.
I agree with everything Paul said. I think the biggest differentiator is going to be that pitch. We will not play in many a worse pitch than that St Johnstone one. So I would expect that automatically to make us better by default and allow us to play our game. I don't know. Just depends who starts, how we show up. I think we'll definitely... I would hope that we would win. I think everything's on our side. Just need to see.
Who do we think will play?
Need to see.
I think it'll be the same team again. I think we've had a chat in the Celtic World WhatsApp, but I think we're going to see a lot of James Forrest in these final games. I think we're going to see a lot of James Forrest because I think he is Brendan Rodgers' guy for this period. He's holding on to the ball, and to be fair, he was good. James Forrest was good. I mean, apart from missing some fairly easy chances in the St Johnstone game before, you're talking about Hatate after him. In terms of what Rodgers wants, in terms of retaining possession in the right areas, making the pass, releasing the ball and stuff like that, Forrest was pretty decent. So I don't expect to see Nicholas Kuhn back in there anytime soon.
No, I agree with you on Forrest, but Idah's not going to start, surely. He can't start. So it's not going to be the same team. You probably Jota back on the left.
If Idah doesn't start, though, is that kind of the same as Kuhn? He's one of those ones that were kind of...
No, I don't.
Going off.
I don't think you were saying he's off. Like,
No,
he's
just take them out of the picture for a while.
just pull him out of the like. He just didn't have a good game the other night. He had a great game at Villa Park. You know, he was fantastic. In this,
how long ago was Villa Park though? This is another one. I don't think we need to turn it into a bashing session, but I think like when we do come to actually looking at the squads and things like that, the amount of games that Idah showed up in this season when he's been given the opportunity have been very, very few.
Well,
very few.
I'm giving Idah a pass on the main point is for the same reason Kyogo. I felt Kyogo was hard done by for a good chunk of the season. Like we played our best football in the first half of the season. Now that doesn't really matter whether Kyogo started or Idah started. We got no service into the front man. It was all about the wingers and the midfielders. That's where all the goals came from. We didn't get balls to the byline and back for a central striker. And if you're not going to do that, your strikers aren't going to score. Kyogo didn't score that many goals, not as much as you would have expected from him. He was starved of service. Idah's been the same. Like, I don't see the point in playing Adam Idah if you aren't going to get the ball in between the posts in the 18-yard box, because that's where he'll score. Like if the ball's in there with not much time for him to think, he's pretty lethal. He's an instinctive striker. If he's got time to think about it or he isn't getting the service, he's obviously not going to score goals. Like I think we did play a little bit over the odds for it. People say, "Oh, 9 million, he's a young striker, etc., etc." That's the going rate, maybe, but we were over a barrel because we didn't sort out the loan properly with an option to buy, and we made it clear we wanted him, and we made it clear to him we were bringing him, and Norwich didn't blink, and we blinked first, and that's why we paid what we paid. But all of that said, he's contributed. He's still scored quite a lot of goals.
Has he improved? Has he improved since he joined permanently?
No, I don't think he has, but I don't think he's had a huge amount of game time. We haven't really serviced the central striker other than Maeda, but he's a completely different player. I don't think we've played
that was a rationale. We had the conversation, Paul. That was a rationale. If he comes in, it was with the basis that Rodgers would improve him. So I think by that marker, if he hasn't improved, I understand what you were saying, but Rodgers should never have signed him if he never intended to play the sort of balls that Idah would thrive off of. I just think he hasn't improved. Yes, he's probably got another season to try and prove himself, but he's got a lot of work to do. Is all I'll say. Even the fact you're saying that he doesn't get another start again against St Johnstone.
Well, you can't start him in the cup semi-final, which is one of only 2 games that really matter, when he had as bad a performance as he did the other day. Like, it's stuff bouncing off of him, not holding it in, not linking up play. You've got to play Maeda.
Kyogo would have, because we knew Kyogo had the potential to pull something special out.
Kyogo, back end of his career, Adam Idah's still a young man. Different players. I think, yeah. This is it for me. Like, if we're gonna use him in link up play, he's got to improve his link up play and his touch. He's a penalty box striker. You get the ball in the penalty box without much time to think. One touch, one finish. Bit like Giakoumakis, but younger and rawer, and probably got a higher ceiling. He'll score you goals. But we haven't. Look at the service he got when he came in on the loan for that second half of the season. Let's be honest. I don't think we win a double without him coming at that period. He scored loads of crucial goals. We got the ball in the box. He scored headers. He scored one-touch finishes inside the 6-yard box. We haven't given that to him in the second phase, really.
I would think to a man, if you offered the support to get 6 million back for Idah after having invested 8 million, say, I think the vast majority would take that 6 million, and I think that tells you everything you need to know about his future with us.
See, I wouldn't. I think there's a player there. We just need
I wouldn't either. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's definitely deserves.
You wouldn't take 6 million for Idah in the window?
No.
Nah.
Okay, maybe just me then. Maybe just me. I would bite your hand off for £6 million for Idah. Bite your hand off.
The comments disagree with you as well.
Yeah. Utter bollocks, Ian. Have you seen all these toys that are going around? People are making these toys, these action figures. Paddy Lavery sent me one, which is this one of Reda Morales El Fluffalo. It is pretty good. Got to enjoy that. There you go, Paddy. Put that up. Put a smile on your face.
Why have you got tortillas? He's not Mexican.
Why is he what?
He's
Got
not
burritos?
mentioned his club
He's
yet.
got burritos. He's got burritos. Yeah, burritos. Yeah. He's obviously
Yeah,
likes
the
a feed. Though.
Yeah.
timeline is full of them. Some of them are funny though. Gotta say. Okay, but let's round it off with a couple of things here. Ian, this is Paul. Rather, you put this up or you shared this. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. Look, it's some fierce beer, a brewer. I'm assuming Scottish brewer. Have sort of linked up with one of my favourites, Fit by Tweets, and basically produced this Gothenburg 83 Aberdeen limited edition beer. And obviously, from being up that neck of the woods, I've got a few mates that obviously that's pretty much all they've got to hold on to. So they'll enjoy that, and I'm sure there'll be a market for a slightly aged hipster from the northeast of Scotland that wants a full set of, I don't know, 12-pack. I imagine they're starting 11 and John Hewitt on it. So yeah, I thought it was quite a cool little collab.
It's nice to see Fit by Tweets getting that sort of recognition. Monetizing
Yeah,
his skills.
Absolutely.
You see people saying, do the Lisbon Lions next. You'll make a fortune. That's
Well,
the
he's
first
got
comment there.
to cash in quickly with the way AI's going before someone just trains a model and steals all his stuff. So, because he's a talented guy.
Well, do you think AI's, taking over the world? Do you think they'd be able to, I don't know, replicate "you are what you eat"? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
This is "you are what you eat."
Oh, this is
which
good.
Yeah, it's a peanut butter and jam sandwich eating itself.
The thing you have to remember is with these things, I think the best example is the Will Smith eating spaghetti. And if you look at that over the last 3 years, you can actually track how much better this has got. I mean, this is crazy that this can just be done by someone prompting it this used to be someone's job, and this would have been, top of the tree.
It's gross. So look at this. What's gelatinous chews? Paul, is this enough to make you want to get out and get your step count up?
I was in the gym at 5:30 this morning, Gav, so my step count's just dandy.
No,
but-
I know it is. I know you're looking after yourself these days. That's what I'm talking about.
No, look, I know Ian loves AI. He's an AI kind of dude. I'm kind of horrified by it, to be honest. Like, it just, yeah, like Fit by Tweet's a really good example. It's he's got quite a basic style, but he does it in such an amazing way. And he's come up with the creativity, and there's obviously some kind of little quirky little comments around the cartoons. The fact that, and this is happening all over already, is like, creatives, artists, other professionals are getting pushed out of their career and their sector by this stuff already, because people want to cut costs and cut corners. Yeah, it's a pretty poor state of affairs, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to be a bit of an old curmudgeon and say, sod AI, go find your local independent artist, creative, and employ them rather than this nonsense, if you can afford to, which is obviously part of the issue.
Okay, how do I get way back from this? Yeah, it's hard to look at that stuff anyway. Well,
Yeah, you left us with it for ages.
Fun thing to end it on. 'Tis amazing. The big smoked salmon guy is absolutely gross. Smoked salmon guy eating loads of smoked salmon. Yes. Do you use a watch to track your steps or anything like that, Paul? I remember what's his name? Dano was saying that's how he lost a ton of weight, like 16 kg or something crazy.
Yeah, no,
Just walking and drinking water.
The short answer is no. Because there's an app on the phone. The phone's nearly always on you. Now I've got a real watch. I remember when these things first came out, I had a Fitbit years ago, and I put on about 5 kilos in the first year of having a Fitbit. So
Why is that?
So why was it? Because I was eating and drinking too much and not moving enough. It's
Right.
like
You're a fat man sheriff.
I was the fat man sheriff at the time. So yeah, like no, because your phone's got all your step count on it. I just if you really want, this is fucking boring, but I wear zipped shorts and I zip my phone into my pocket when I go to the gym, so it records my continuous steps while I'm at the gym, as well as just in daily life, because obviously you're never parted from your phone in this day and age.
Smell the gloves, 4 stone down from Christmas. Yeah,
Bravo.
Oh, well done. That's
yeah,
a solid effort, that is.
It's a good effort.
very
It's a
good.
good effort. I've got a bit to go.
Just doing pull-ups every day. Pull-ups, I'm hopeless at.
Tell you
Nah.
what,
Too fat
Easter
for
with the
pull-up.
cream eggs about.
What's that?
Easter with cream eggs about. I mean, it's no good. It's no good for me. I like chocolate. It's a painful time of the year. This is 4 stone's probably going to go on in the next couple of days for me.
No,
I'm
I've just got this watch, and it's mostly because of steps. But then all the other things, I mean, it monitors your health and tells you your blood oxygen level and your heart rate. And if you fall over, it sends a message to someone as an
Oh, have you got a
emergency.
special one for the codgers, have you, Gav?
Are you iPhone? Is it? Is it? I watch. Whatever. Are you closing your rings, Gav?
Beg your pardon?
Are you closing your rings?
No, I was
I thought
doing
that
that
was
earlier. I was worried the show wasn't going to go on. So,
I thought that was a thing. Close your rings, like you got targets and you meet them, and then the ring closes.
oh, is that what that's? I
Yeah.
don't know the terminology. I have
Yeah,
to
no,
work
no.
it all out.
Fair enough.
All right. Anyway, enough of this tangential chat. Thanks everyone in the comments for all of your tangential chat. It's been very good. We've talked about lots of issues. Looking forward to the big game. And of course, we'll be back on Monday to digest it. Hopefully, you will all enjoy your lunch after seeing that AI.
I'm eating
monstrosity.
smoked salmon, ironically. I bought myself a nice wee pack of smoked salmon, so
How do you
put
eat
it on my
smoked
face
salmon?
and just,
This is funny. John Clement saying, "Why do I have a craving for a boiled egg after watching Gav in the Celtic world?"
I'm glad you put it up. I was nearly going to sneak in and put it up as a comment, but you got there first, so well done.
Is my head particularly egg-like in this light?
It's
All
not,
right.
it's not dissimilar.
Let us leave it there. Thank you, one and all. Ian and Paul, as always. Cheers, and we'll see you next week.
So yeah.
Ta-ta for now.